Hello again and welcome to One Geezer's Garage. I'm Wayne Powell, the head geezer. If you've been following this sequence where we're trying to put a late model Chevrolet V8 engine in a 1987 BMW 535 IS, I know you've been asking the question, so when's the engine going to get in there? When are we going to see it actually in the car? We've been doing a lot of, as we would say here in Missouri, a fixin' to, with a lot of engine preparation and some engine bay preparation. But for those of you who've been waiting patiently, today's the day we're going to show you what it actually looks like, that engine actually looks like in the BMW. And we're going to show you some of the issues that we've discovered in that first trial fitting. Well, here's the first overview. The engine's actually sitting in the engine bay, sitting pretty much on the motor mounts that Ed Rather in California sent me, which are duplicates of what he used to put an LS1 in his 6 Series BMW. And we've got a few things that we're just experimenting with. For example, here on the passenger side, the exhaust manifold that you can see buried down in there happens to be a Camaro, an early Camaro, like 98, 99 Camaro exhaust manifold. And we chose that because it's a two-piece fabricated stamped steel manifold, thinking that if we needed to modify it, it would certainly be much easier to modify than any cast iron. And it turns out that the Camaro outlet, which we may not have enough light for you to see, the Camaro outlet pretty much points in the direction it should. We think it can go out underneath the floor pan and out pretty much where the original exhaust system went from the 6-cylinder. Up front, you'll see the original radiator just sitting in place here, and you can see that there's quite a bit of room between the water pump pulley and the radiator, so certainly no problem there. We're going to replace this radiator. This radiator was due for replacement anyway, and we're not sure exactly what we'll be using in the future, but some sort of replacement. One of the things I'm sure you'll see, if we get down just a little lower here and sight across from the top of one fender to the other, you're going to see a lot of engine sticking up out of the engine bay. And that's something we've known all along that we'd have to deal with. This is a truck-style intake manifold and front accessory drive, so it's a very tall manifold. The alternator in particular sticks up significantly higher than a Camaro or a Corvette version does. And right now today I have a bid in on an LS2 passenger car style manifold that will solve our clearance issue. One of the possibilities, if we wanted to keep this particular intake manifold and front accessory drive, of course, would be to put a hood scoop on the car, but that sort of takes away the sleeper image and starts to make it even a little too hot roddy for me, who I confess to being a hot rodder pretty much through and through. Now, stacked up on top here is a lot of a wiring harness, so that height is not an issue, but from here to here, the top of the throttle body to the top of the alternator is significantly higher than will clear our hood. Now, over on this side, we've got quite a few things going on. One is we have our leveling device for our engine hoist still attached to the back of the engine, so that's why it's still in there. It's too tight to get it unhooked right now. Besides, this engine's going to come out and go back in several times, so we're just leaving that leveler. As you can probably tell, we have a lot of things going on here all at the same time, all in the same place on the driver's side. Let me push some of this wiring harness back out of the way. You can see tucked down in there the master cylinder reservoir, which interestingly enough does clear the coil packs, although if we tried to put a wire in one of the coil packs for number 7, we'd probably have a little trouble with that. So that's solvable. We can move the coil pack. The master cylinder itself is just barely touching a heat shield, the silver thing you can see there in the middle of the screen, a heat shield that's on the manifold. Now, this particular manifold happens to be the original SUV passenger side manifold, and we turned it around, putting it on the driver's side so that it actually has a front dump, just to see if that might be one possibility. It does clear the steering box better than, of course, the original would have, that would have been pointing back. This would require some sort of a crossover pipe that would come out of that manifold, go down across the front of the engine, and then back across the right-hand side and join up somehow or run parallel to the passenger side pipe. So that's still one possibility we're looking at. Well, there you have it. That's a first view of a 5.3 liter all-aluminum Chevy V8 engine in a 1987 BMW 535 IS. Tune in again next time and we'll show you some more progress here at One Geezer's Garage.